Hi, my name is Noel Davis with World Composting, and today we're going to go over this. The Urban Worm Bag 2 version 2.0. So this one has a few updates from my first one that I have, which is actually sitting right over here. I'm going to probably be moving that to maybe a friend's house or something, or maybe even try it somewhere else in the basement if I can find some room. But this is the second version of it. I bought another one because it has a few upgrades that I think are well worth the extra cost. And let's start with these zippers here. There's two of them. So unlike the other one which only has one zipper, this one has a zipper that goes each way, which is great. Because a lot of times what you want to do is you want to open up a corner, throw your food in. You don't want to start all the way over here and go all the way around just to open up a little bit. And this will allow you to do that. So that's the first difference with this new bin. Now let's just open it up all the way. Exact same material it looks like. Same frame. I think these frames are pretty nice. You can make your own out of PVC, and if you do, I would maybe reinforce it with a little bit of wood in there just to make sure you have the proper structure. So interior material still just as good as it was in the first one. It looks a little bit bigger. I don't know why. I can't compare them obviously because the other one has worms in it still, so can't compare them, but this looks a little bit bigger down here, like a little bit more spread out. I think the other one was just a little bit more narrow. It just kind of came down a little bit straighter. This chute is different. It actually has a little chute here that goes down to the area underneath where the zipper is, and there is a little drawstring on it, so you can close it up, and that way stuff won't fall out. So this is new on this one. The other one went straight down into the zipper portion, and when I harvested it, the zipper gets kind of stuck and hard to move, and this should prevent that. It'll prevent the compost from getting jammed in there so you can't move it around. So now let's go underneath here. Now it's going to be a little bit lack of light, but I think we'll be okay. So I have it open right now, as you can tell by the zipper being open, and as you can see, you have this chute here. You see the light coming down right now, and that is where you, this is the zipper right here where you zip it up and it's closed off just like it was before, but this chute protects this zipper, as I was saying, and that's going to really help it, I think, be a lot easier to harvest. And then you just close everything back up and zip it back up in here. So the next part of this is getting it ready to go. Now I have some worms on order, and I'm going to get this set up now because they should be here really any minute now or any day. I think they're supposed to arrive today, but I've also had my mail be wrong before. So I'm going to set this camera up, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to set this up so that way we can have a full bin here going. All right, so I've got my camera locked here on the bin. The first thing I'm doing is I'm putting in a pizza box. And this is just to try to take up some of the room in here and spread it out a little bit. What I'm really trying to do with this is block this hole so I don't have a whole bunch of stuff just fall right down the hole, and that gets it's going to need to break down. So this will kind of hold it off there, allow a little bit more airflow, and actually I do need to zip up the bottom. I will do that later though. I'm going to pour in a ton of cardboard and paper here, so it's quite a bit. This is enough to give it. Actually, it still looks even a little bit too light. I can add a little bit more later, but we can start with this. So I'm going to let that go right down to the cardboard. Actually, while you look at that for a second, I'm going to zip this up just so nothing falls out the bottom here. I'm going to make sure that this is all sealed up. And actually, I already had a few little pieces come out the bottom, so we definitely need to zip this thing up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then we're going to start adding the food. Now, I don't have the worms yet, but I want to add that food. Do you know why? Because we need to get it going. We need to get this decomposing for the worms, so that way there's food in there for them. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I have, as I've shown other people before, in a coffee tin here, I have some crushed up eggshells, and I grind these in a little blender that I have, and I'm going to just sprinkle these on here. Now you're not supposed to breathe this dust in, just so you know. I'm going to sprinkle a whole bunch on there because I think that this helps with calcium, so that way the worms can make more cocoons, which is like their eggs. And then I have here a blender filled with scraps. Now this is going to come out just like that. It was a little bit frozen because some of the stuff was frozen as I was blending it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this up, and we're just going to let this sit there. Actually, I'm going to spread that out just a little bit. Let me grab a glove here real quick. I do use gloves when I'm working in my worm bins. I don't always use these disposable ones. I usually have some reusable gloves, but when I'm doing videos online, I usually use these. So there are some chunks in here, but we're going to just kind of spread this out. Get some of the paper in there, mix it in, so that way it gets also nice and wet, this paper. And then what we're going to do here is I'm going to spray this bin down with some water. So I have a sprayer here, this sprayer right here, and I'm going to spray this down with some water, and that way it'll be nice and moist for the worms when they arrive. And then I'm just going to add them straight to this bin, and I'm going to seal it up, and I'm going to leave them in here for a while. But hopefully this food will start decomposing, because that's the key behind all this. And then what I'm hoping is that they work into that box, and eventually it'll fall down inside that hole, but not immediately. So you can soak the newspaper and paper that you have in here beforehand. I prefer to do it after. I've done it before, and I find that then it's another bucket I've got to clean and something else I need to clean out, and I'd rather just, I find that, you know, you just kind of check it, it should be a little bit moist. You know, but so you can always add water, but it's hard to remove water. Just remember that. These bins do, or these bag systems do breathe quite a lot better, and you can always unzip the top a little bit to let in some fresh air, and if you need to, you can unzip the bottom a little bit to let some air kind of flow through and dry it out if you need to. So that's the setup of this bin. I will also come back when I get the worms, and I will add them right here on top. Hopefully by then this will have worked in a little bit and it'll soak in. If it's still dry in here, I can always add some more water with the worms, but we'll check it out then. So let's just dump these worms in. That's a lot of bedding material, but that's a good thing. It was nice and dry. Looks like there's a good amount of worms in here. So they're in big balls right now, as you can see. So they're probably all, they feel a little chilly. Actually, you know what we could do? Hold on just a second here. They did just go through the shipping process, so what we can do here, grab a little temperature gauge. So they're about 60 degrees, and they were outside for all of 20 seconds, really. That's a really, I mean, this is probably a pound right here, not including whatever other worms are in here. Good material. I'm going to get this a little bit more wet. With my little spray wand here. Make sure there's enough moisture, and let them start working down into the bedding here. And you can see them really well now. I mean, you can really see how many are shipped in here. So this is a very good order from Texas Worm Farm. I'd highly recommend them as a shipper. Everyone is recommending them online. They have some pretty good prices. And they also, one of the things I liked is that you did not have to register an account when you went to them, which some of the other sites did, which I wasn't real happy about. I don't want to have to create another username and password for one order of worms. So overall, good experience from them, and it looks like a good 2 pounds of worms. I'm not going to measure them fully, but there was 4 pounds of material in the box, which sounds about right, and looking what's in here. So we're going to close this up, let them dig down in. This being zipped up is going to prevent them from getting out, so I'm not going to put a light on them or anything like that, although I could. I do have one right here, just in case. If I find them crawling all up and down the sides, I probably will open it up, turn a light on, make them dig down into here a bit. So hopefully they'll start digging down, they'll find that food, and they'll start going to work. So that's it for starting an Urban Worm Bag version 2.0. If you like these videos, please subscribe. I will have a playlist of all these videos as well. So thank you very much.